today we are on a hunt for some land here in Colorado Springs, and we're going to tell you why that is important here. So stay tuned. We're going to show you 3 great options for land. We always have clients who reach out. They want a new build, either inventory or they want a dirt start build, and how we help them go through that and what is important to look for when you're finding a lot here in Colorado Springs Monument area.
So lots and land are definitely a little bit, if you do it right, a little bit more complex than what you think. So stay tuned. We're going to give you some important things to consider and show you some great new options coming up in the Colorado Springs area. So let's go hunting.
Let's go. Point number 1 here. Kayla and I drove up to this particular area of new builds because I think it has a lot to offer. They do have smaller yards, but it's not all about the yard. To me, when you're looking for a land to build a house on here in Colorado Springs and you're in a traditional neighborhood, you want to find the lot that's on a ridge or that is angled the correct way to give you some privacy.
And sometimes that may even be, and that's what we drove through this new build area, and sometimes even just like a bend in the road or at the end of a cul-de-sac will offer, a little bit of privacy, a little bit of seclusion. A lot of times the developer has already put that into perspective, and they know that, if it's at the end of a cul-de-sac, it's going to be a little bit more of a pie-shaped lot, and so it may have a little bit bigger premium. But these ridges are super important, and usually the developer knows that, and so they have maybe tacked on a premium for a walkout basement if it's large enough, or even a garden level, or they'll call it a view, which is what we're going to be looking at right now.
So for me, and so we're picking out 3 lots that we would love if we were moving here, and kind of showing you why and what that looks like. I would say there's many lots when we go for clients, and it's like even the lots are right next door to each other, and I'm like, I would never take that lot, but I would absolutely take that lot. And here is why and what that looks like, and we're going to talk about like the build out and setbacks and all that kind of stuff. But we're actually going to get out and show you these lots here, and this is our number one, and it is on a ridge, and it has mountain views. If I was going to buy a lot, for me, I would have to have a mountain view.
Yeah.
Or some type of view with a little bit of privacy. Having someone right in my backyard and spending a lot of money on a new build would be a hard no for me.
Well, and that I think is going to be a good segue for number 2 point I wanted to bring up. We'll talk about that later, but we got to show you this lot first. Show it to you. I think we found a good one.
We found a good one. Let's go. Okay. This is my example of a lot on a ridge. It's in a traditional neighborhood. Some of these yards are actually pretty small. So to me, it's like if you don't want to have a lot of yard maintenance, but you want to have a view, you want to feel like you have some privacy. These homes here, you guys, are probably $800,000 up here in Monument. A new build in Colorado Springs, starting price point, what would you say, Kayleen? We've had clients build in the upper 4s sometimes, not for dirt start, but an inventory home. If you are building from dirt in some of these places, you probably are looking at least $600,000. Starting here, you're probably closer to 8. But look at these ridges here. You can see you will have a home behind you possibly, and that's something that
I'm going to show them this view.
Yeah, show them the view. But this is something we try to help you navigate. Like, can you build a ranch? What is it going to look like when a home is put behind you? And you can see there is some setback here. A lot of times the question is, can I build a walkout? And sometimes on these ridges you can have walkouts, whereas across the street you probably are not going to have a walkout basement because you're going to have a traditional underground basement, maybe a garden level as well. So this is a really good.
And I want to point out the lot that you kind of picked out. I don't know if you all can see it as well, but it is on a bend right here. And so I think that that'll help with the seclusion piece, because the house over here is going to be a little bit forward. Yeah. Your driveway is probably going to be a little bit more back. And then as like the ridge, which is what you are looking for, obviously you get incredible views. It is going to probably have a premium because it steps down, so you have a walkout basement. But then what I like about this one, Lori, versus those, is that the lots even down below
They're already,
over there, I don't think you're going to have windows directly into your backyard because you're stepped down even more.
yeah. And
So
it's
I do
important to
think
know
this is a
too,
good
there's
one.
other filings as well. So this may be, I can't remember exactly what filing this is, might be like 2 or 3, but in each new build community, they're gonna have filing 4, 5, 6, some of them even have like 8 filings. And so we can kind of take a look at that master plan community. And if you don't want someone directly behind you, or you want higher elevation to guarantee you're gonna have that mountain view, we can kind of look, if you have time on your hands, and kind of figure out what that looks like. I actually have someone in on a wait list that I know they're gonna release them in the next 2 to 3 months, and we're their first call on that list. And so sometimes if we have time, it does help.
We have had clients literally pick out, they're like, we know we want this street, and the builder has only maybe released lots down to there. And so we'll talk to the builder's reps for you. We'll, be on their speed dial, be on the email list, however the builder's handling it, so that when the particular lot comes out that you want, we can be ready, because these lots that have the premium views usually go quick.
But it's hard to tell what these lots look like. On the master plan community, they'll just have like a little drawing of these houses, but you can't tell the elevation.
You can't tell
and what that looks like as far as like, are you going to have a view? We had a client in town this weekend. It's actually one of our second stops, is to check out 2 different lots for them. And they were here, but I want to put eyes on it and make sure that it's going to be what they're expecting it to be as well. So it's really important to have some boots on the ground here and kind of see what these lots look like and know the questions to ask when you are doing a dirt start build, because there's a lot of unknowns, not only with your build, but with the houses around you. So this is option number 1, great option here in Monument, and great views. We're still hunting for lots.
Oh yeah,
the best ones out there.
I think we might have found it though.
I know, but
you have to break out the checkbook and your life savings.
I know, but I don't think this would be my dream lot. I'll tell you why, but you introduce what we're talking about for this lot, and then I will tell you why.
We are up here on some acreage lots. We are actually in a planned community, and for that, I think if I went with acreage, I'd actually exclude that part of it. But what I will say, it keeps the value of the homes very cohesive in this area. So we are up here in Flying Horse 2. We are looking at a 2.5 acre lot. It is just the cost of the lot is what, 1.4
You're
million?
talking about 1.1 to 1.4 for these lots here. Because you may have heard of Flying Horse. We do a ton of videos on Flying Horse. So there's Flying Horse that's in like the Northgate area. I had a client call me this weekend. They were watching our videos and they wanted to, possibly build here. They like Classic as their builder. That Flying Horse is almost completely built out.
Yes.
The lots that are left kind of overlook like this Powers corridor where they're kind of expanding the road. So it's kind of like...
You have to be okay with road noise.
Not a ton, but this Flying Horse North is it's still a golf course community. The golf course is in.
They have a new golf course, so a separate golf course up here, but it's that same prestigious Flying Horse.
Different feel for sure.
Well, what I will say, and this is why I wanted to bring it out here, I want to show you like what a premium Colorado,
it's beautiful,
Colorado Springs real estate lot looks like. But I want to talk to you about lots that are maybe not owned by a developer, but it's maybe more raw land. We have a lot of people that have this dream of, well, maybe I could just buy a piece of land and then I can find a builder. Not as easy as you think. One, because a lot of the raw land is already built up.
Especially usable raw land, where you can you can see that Colorado mountain still. Otherwise, you keep going
east.
It's
really hard to find. The other piece to that, lending is completely different. I won't even go into that, but I'm going to go through maybe some logistics with buying land that is more acreage, things to consider. So you have the cost of the land itself. And then on top of that, if you are buying just raw land, you will also want to consider the cost of a well, the cost to possibly pull electric over. I just went through one of these deals, so I can throw out some numbers for you. And the cost of a septic system. So maybe let's go out there and then I can talk about those things, because I want you to look at the scenery. Wow.
Yes.
I'm talking to you about boring lots.
Okay, and I will tell you why this. It's beautiful.
Tell me why, real quick.
Okay, real quick. I do love it. I think it's gorgeous out here. My husband would love to live like on a golf course. I do love the space. It feels like Colorado to me, especially some of these you can get some mountain views. it'd be a little tricky
kinda
in some of
lose
these
the mountain views,
places
so.
a little bit. Those ones back there had some good mountain views. So if that's important to you, we have to kind of talk through that. But to me, I don't know if I want 2.5 acres. I'm just going to be honest. Some people do want 2.5 acres.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd want to care for. I'd rather have a home. Like,
You have
I
to
think
maintain it.
the last lots that we're going to show you are probably what I would prefer as I get into my advanced ages.
So you don't want the upkeep and
I don't want the
mitigation
upkeep and the mitigation and the care.
It is a lot of work.
But I can see how people love it. Don't get me wrong. I can see if you want. There's people like back there that have horses and
or space. Like if you
Space.
want outbuildings
see
and
it.
you want privacy, you totally get that. But
Yeah.
it's a lot of work.
So let's go take a look and we'll show you the pros and cons. Okay, Kayleen's gonna give you the. I think you would love this. Like this, if money was no object and you had the 1.1,
I think I would like it out
and then
here.
you have like these homes here are at least $2 million because you're gonna do $1 million build on
I
it.
mean, that's the thing.
You would love
this is your dream build in Colorado. It's definitely a custom build when you're talking lots at over $1 million. But what I like about it is you're still close to the road. They have a fire department out here, so it helps knowing that your investment out here is protected. Like literally the fire department is right down the road.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And they are kind of mitigated here. Like I would think it's different than Black Forest because it's a little more, it's treed but more open, I would say.
Well, and they've
This one's
kind of
available.
trimmed up the trees. So
My phone overheated. We use it a lot.
we had to take a break.
We had to take a little break, but we're back. But what I wanted to show you and what Kaylee, this lot is available. And look how beautiful it is. And then that would be a neighbor, and that's a neighbor, but you do have 2.5 acres here in Flying Horse North.
Yeah, 2.5 acres. Things to consider when you're buying raw land versus maybe something like this. So if you're buying raw land, you will have the cost of getting water to that land. So you will probably need a well. This happens to be, that's a bonus. This happens to be on city water and not sewer. You do need a septic system out here, but city water. If you have a well, like I've seen wells cost up to $80,000 to drill down to get to the aquifers for the amount of water needed for a residence. So plan ahead. Wells are not cheap. On top of that, septic systems, they'll have to come out and they'll do some soil samples. Most places do need engineered septics out here, and so an engineered septic, you're talking anywhere from about $16,000 over to mid $30,000 for septics. This right over here, I want to point out, that little green box, that is electricity. You definitely need electricity on your lot. We actually just went through this, the raw land that our clients had bought. The electric was on the other side of the road, and they needed to drill under the road, core out an area to then come over here and place that electric box, and just to do that, $16,000. So just things to consider when building, and that is not even your building permits or anything. So yes, you can buy raw land. Do be prepared that the cost to build is going to be higher. Sometimes it is easier to look in more of these planned unit communities because the developer has taken on the cost to do a lot of those extra numbers that I just talked about. And they've bought the land in bulk, and so a lot of times they'll have the premium lots as well.
Land option number 3. We actually had a client who's going to contract on one of these lots, so it won't be available, but they have 2 other lots that are similar. And what our point is, what is our point for this one? Remember our point.
Our point is that, oh, just a sec, sorry. These builders, like when you're in a master plan community, the builders have already gone through and kind of divvied up the inventory for lots.
What person really wants to talk to you? No, it's her son.
Just a sec. I'm telling him, can I call you back later? Sorry. But they've already divvied up their inventory. And so like this particular street that has the stunning views, you can build with Classic, Vantage, or American Legend. But don't fall in love with a particular builder if the lot is more important, and don't fall in love with the lot if the builder's more important. Did I say that right?
I think we get what you're saying.
Because if you absolutely want to build a Vantage home, but you want the American Legend lot, you aren't going to be able to do that.
And we had a client come this weekend, and we knew what they kind of wanted, so we're like, hey, let's visit these builders, and they wanted like
a ranch
certain
home
streets, and so you can kind of go through like the 3 builders in that community and
narrow
weigh
it
your
down.
pros and cons. And I will say, I'm going to get out here and show you pieces of this. Is sometimes, and Kayleen just did this. We love the builder Kayleen built with, but she built with them knowing she's going to get more house for her money. They still have great finishes. Knowing those other builders are building $1.2 million homes around her to give her some good, quick equity. And that's kind of what we look at when we're building homes. We've had clients who, not with us, but other people have bought homes with builders and they're stuck because they haven't thought about, oh, what if I want to move in a year or two? Can I get my equity back out?
Yep. And that's what, if we know a particular builder is a little bit more cost effective and they're building right next door to a builder that tends to build $40,000, $100,000 more, that's the place where we want our clients to be. We want you in a home that you love. There's still some really good finishes, but we overall want you to make a really good real estate investment, because that's our job to help you do that.
And what's included with that builder. Some will include like fencing or landscaping. Some will include no structural upgrades, and others will absolutely include them. So you're not comparing the same thing when you're comparing pricing.
To apples.
So one home could be $700,000, but actually the better deal could be the $750,000, because you're getting, at the end of that $700,000 home, you're going to get
landscaping, your countertops,
So that's something we help you maneuver through. But we'll stop talking.
Yes, let's go check this out.
Go check it out.
So we are here. I wanted to show you this lot. So a couple reasons why this lot is premium. One, the views.
I'm trying to show it. Actually,
it's a great view, completely of the mountain. The
it looks like
rock fencing that you see in the back is developer, so that's the end of the community. And so there will be no more builds behind you. Nothing will take away from this lot. And so that was
and this is a
big deal
corner lot on a cul-de-sac. So
it's about 14,000 square feet, which is good and bad because it is more upkeep. Our client who's actually looking at this isn't sure he wants that, but we can do some xeriscaping here in Colorado to help cut down on cost of water and cost of maintaining that. But the views is what is going to sell this house over and over and over again. The other thing why I like this lot, Lori, and I'm not going to get too detailed with showing you right over here, but all along this cul-de-sac, this street right here, are 2 other builders that I know is building the exact same square footage, bedrooms, bathrooms, garage space. If I'm looking from an appraisal standpoint, I'm trying to find like homes. And if I'm taking the square footage of this home that we would build here, bedrooms, bathrooms, garage space, and I compare it to what the other people on the street are doing, I know you're walking into equity because the cost to build with the builder that owns this lot is quite a bit less than the others on the street. So for that, again, I know this is a great investment for our client.
And I will say with this lot in particular, and I'll explain this to our clients who is here, those are 2.5 for 2-acre lots right over there in Timber Ridge.
Those are estate lots at Timber Ridge.
1 street away from a traditional neighborhood.
And that is a home that's over $1.2, $1.4 million minimum right there within, literally I could throw a ball right there. And so I just think the other one we're looking at, I can see, but I just, to me, this is a premium lot. It is a $15,000 difference between the 2 that we're kind of weighing out. But I know in Colorado, this view, this cul-de-sac, these builds right next door, this is definitely the better pick.
We're on to our last lot. It's one of my favorites. I actually told my neighbor about it, and I got her on the list. Well, I'm on the list for her to find when these lots get released. I think it's kind of a cool setting. It's right here by Wolf Lake. But our point of this video for this last point is to know the plan.
So when you come in, and it depends on kind of where the community is at in its development, but they'll, each community will partner with some builders, and some builders will release lots in different phases. But what they all should have is a map of the master plan community. And it's important to know how it's all going to lay out, because if you're only looking at phase 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe there's, 20 different phases. This is a project that's been going on for what,
decades.
20 years?
Yeah.
And it's now on the last, I'm going to call it the last leg. Last some phases. It'll still go for another, 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, at least.
But there's still phases to come. But now it's at the point where you can see where this is all going to end up. And so that would have been nice to know. We were just talking about that as we drove over here. I said, I remember 10 years ago when these little houses were like X amount of dollars, and I was like, what? Like, why would I ever buy that here? Well, now it's like the community is wrapped around. Now you're close to the lake. That style of housing where it's sitting in the community would be ideal.
You can see where the parks are going to be, the pools are going to be. Is there planned schools?
And you wouldn't have known that 10 years ago when I saw it on the Parade of Homes.
And new schools can really help boost a development, resale value. New schools that always bring with typically like good school ratings. People like new. Where like in some master plan communities don't even have like trails put into them, or planned open spaces. So what does that look like is real important, especially at the beginning phase of a development.
Well, and so that's the thing. You want to ask questions. Ask if they have a map of the master plan. Ask how many phases. Ask, how long is this development going to take? And a lot of times the builder's rep will give you what they know, but it's kind of up to you and us as your agents to dig a little more, ask a little bit more, ask who the developer is, do our research there to kind of see what the big master plan is for that community. And so we are going to show you the last leg
this
over
is where
here.
I would build.
And it's really the cream of the crop.
I do. I know people, I know the Flying Horse North are $1 million builds, and we've had clients who reach out and they want that feel. That's kind of our conversations with you. But if I had to choose, this is where I would build. So let's go look. So if you are going around and around about what lot to build, this is why we love this lot. So come with me this way. Don't be careful of I don't even know what that is. It's like a rubber, I don't know what that is.
We won't look down there.
Look
what's on the other side.
Look what's on the other side of this, and it's a little windy out here, so this is where we get ourselves in trouble with wind noise. But this whole area, and there's different builders who build here, and we know the master plan community, Kaylee and I do for a lot of these places, but these are one of the last phases, and so you kind of know what's going to be around you. The lake's going to be right there. The brand new clubhouse, the second one's going to be over there. You have Black Forest sitting to that direction as well. And we have a couple of clients who are like, what are the builders in this community? What is it going to look like? Here's what we're looking for. We want to make sure we maintain that view and a good equity. We want some space. We want that feeling like we're in Colorado, right? Everyone wants to be like, well, I'm moving to Colorado. I want to know that I'm in Colorado. And those views and those mountains, one thing I can guarantee you is those mountains are not going anywhere. So picking a good lot here with a builder, knowing how it's going to build out is important as well. But great lot options here. This is why it's one of my favorites. So we're hoping that we give you a good sense of like different lots and how our clients reach out to us, and we kind of listen to it as what it is you want, your price point, your timeline, and really help you narrow down on areas and timeline as far as if you want an inventory home or if you want something that is maybe 10 months out, a year out, gosh, maybe even 2 months out. We've done that before as well. But it's really important that you guys reach out to us because we know our areas and we know how to help you make Colorado your home and get you into something that you and your family are going to love here for generations and decades, I'm going to say. So put those numbers into your phone and reach out.